phases of Lok Sabha elections are over, with the fifth one on May 20th. Well, who stands where in this political battle? To discuss this and much more, we have with us Naresh Arora, election strategist as well as co-founder of DesignBoxed. He had played a crucial role in Karnataka victory for the Congress and has also led a number of political campaigns, with the latest one being Rajasthan. Well, welcome to ThePrint. We also have with us our political editor, DK Singh. We will be discussing what exactly are we expecting in these elections, and at the same time, we will be taking questions sent by our viewers. Well, without much ado, the first question that Sankalp, our viewer, has sent is, are Congress's wealth X-ray and other socialist ideas emanating from the ground, or he says, is the leftist think tank that Rahul Gandhi surrounds himself driving them?
Well, that's a very interesting googly to start with. And especially in the days when IPL has been pitching flat wickets. I think, though this answer can be better answered on the 4th of June, when the voters will decide whether this has come from the ground or not, or has it been just designed in a drawing room by certain political aides or advisors. But if I was to give my opinion on it, I think in my travel across the country over the last few weeks, I have not found much resonance about this agenda on the ground, people talking about it or trying to be curious about it. Because generally you get a sense from the ground when people are at least having a viewpoint over a subject.
Right.
And that viewpoint can be for the subject, can be against the subject, but I couldn't hear much of noise about it. So I don't reckon that it might have come from the ground. Probably someone would have had a data analyst and would have designed it to woo a certain section of society. And let's see what the voters have to say about it on the 4th of June.
Right.
Another viewer actually, when we posted our thing, first reaction was, he is a Congress strategist. His views will be biased. Why are you calling him? What do you have to say about this?
Well, that can be answered after the end of the show.
Give me your assessment of the election so far. Which way is it heading?
In my assessment, after the 379 seats which have already gone to polls, out of them, I think BJP had 205 and Congress had 44 out of them, the ones which have already been decided by the voting. I think it looks like the way it was somewhat like last time, plus minus 10-15 here or there. More or less, because there are 2-3 things which I think are going to be the deciding factor towards the winner of this election, and that is their organizational strength, the work which they keep doing day in, day out, the last time victory margins, and the women voter. The women voter, I have not heard much of that sentiment which is against the Prime Minister. And I think that is also going to be a very, very big deciding factor in their favor if it comes that way.
There has been a lot of conjecture, speculation about, initially there was low voter turnout. Then you hear people, and mostly coming from the liberal intelligence, I would say, that, the response from the ground is not that enthusiastic. People are kind of cold and people are reading it in all the, convenient ways. What do you have to say about this? Have you also noticed the same thing?
Yeah, of course, the voting pattern does reflect that there is not much of an enthusiasm towards the voting itself. Now, which way they are voting, of course, that is yet to be decided. But it appears so because everyone wants to read it their own way. Whatever suits them, they will try to read it that way. But again, as I said earlier, that the organizational strength drives the voter to the polling booth in the favor of the party which has the biggest cadre in the country. And if there is no enthusiasm, according to the liberal intelligentsia, as you are saying, towards the BJP or the Prime Minister or the NDA, then there is no reason for us to believe that enthusiasm is towards the opposition as well. Yes, there are burning issues on the ground, and many independent surveys have indicated towards them common issues like unemployment, price rise, and other such daily routine issues. But I think still the voting percentages, which have gradually been increasing also as the phases have gone by, the organizational strength is working and they are driving the voters towards the polling booth. But it has also, I think, in a way given a chance to the opposition to also try to put some efforts towards getting the polling done, because they believe that there is a chance. And that is their belief. I might not agree with that, but that is their belief that we can get things moving. And it's good for them as well. Let's see that which party has got that organizational strength and got the voter to the polling booth.
So you're obviously suggesting that the BJP is going to have a clear majority. Again, this time it may be 293, 290 or probably 315, 320. That's what you're saying, right?
I believe that they should be around the same mark as last time, plus minus 10, 15.
So I have a lot more to ask about that. But before that, tell us about yourself. Who is Naresh Arora? How did he become a poll strategist?
See, I first of all don't believe the term poll strategist is something which anyone should be carrying, because in elections there are a lot of elements which play, and as an individual or a private enterprise, you have only as much to do. You are not the party, you are not the party office bearer, you are not the one who has been through the thick and thin of the party. Whichever party you are working with, you are not the candidate, you are not the voter also sometimes, or most of times rather. Now, you are not many of the things required to win an election, but you are one part of it, and you are basically managing things, bringing the ideas to the table which you probably think you believe in, and then convincing the people who you are working with that fine, this can work. Back your argument with data, back your argument with research, back your argument with popular opinion, and then hope for the best. That is one part. Now, to answer your question in a bit more detail, which I am generally reluctant or hesitant to, about how I became or who I am, I come from a very middle-class family. My family business has been textiles business, and I myself have some education in textile designing. And I started my career very early. I was like 19 or 20, working in textiles independently, doing fairly well. But my heart was never into textiles. My father always used to push me into textiles, but my heart was always into politics, surprisingly. And thereafter, when we established DesignBoxed, me and my co-founder Gunjit Kaur, in 2010, and we started with digital marketing, which was a new phenomena at that point. Content creation, which was not heard of much at that point. We were working generally with international clients. That gave us a lot of experience in digital marketing. I will be honest to say that. As a poll strategist, when you ask a person, we bring the ideas to the table, we organize things, we try to do things which generally, in a party like Congress, where we have had the major work, they don't do. They are hesitant to do. They don't. They're not the ones who lay the pitch. They are.
Can you give us some examples of how?
Like, for example, if you see that there is a door-to-door activity to be conducted, a very simple activity. And when I was a kid, I remember the elections when people from my colony used to come from all parties to give an election slip. At that time the printed election slip system wasn't there, so the parties used to had a pro forma of a slip, and the local colony guy who was representing the party used to write the name by hand and hand it over to the voter, and of course appeal for the vote. And Congress party also used to do that activity. But as the time went on, as the party continued to remain in power, that activity completely stopped. That activity never used to happen by the Congress party. I never saw anyone from the Congress party coming to my house or the people around me to distribute that slip. But the opposition party, which was BJP or Akali Dal in Punjab when I used to stay, and in Gujarat, I never saw a congressman coming to any house, knocking the door on our flat or somewhere that used have that slip. So this is a basic activity. BJP developed on that activity to keep people, to be in touch with people throughout the year, not just during election times, so as to be seen as a person who only cares for the votes and nothing else. Even the BJP might be caring only for the votes, and that is why they're keeping in touch, but they are keeping in touch, which the Congress party doesn't do. And why they don't do is not because they don't want to do. It's because if now a top leader is never going to be able to do that. There is a hierarchy, there is a system, and the booth worker or the ward level worker or the panchayat level worker is going to do that, and then he's going to be reporting to their senior ups. But that person is not valued in the system. And no one is monitoring that. If one is not being monitored, no one is going to be able to, no one is wanting to go and do anything which one is not going to be acknowledged or recognized for. Now, to give an example that how these simplistic activities also can make a world of difference, I'll give you one example from Karnataka. When the petrol prices crossed 100 rupee per litre mark, so in Karnataka, we launched a campaign called 100 Not Out, in which the Congress party announced a 3-day protest across all petrol pumps for from the village, from the panchayat level up to Hobli up to district levels. And this is the protest is announced many times. You would have also heard that these protests are announced. But what was special about that protest was that DK Singh, the Congress president there, he announced that he'll be putting up Zoom screens on every polling station, and at the PCC central control room, those screens will be monitoring that who is performing the activity with the required results. Now and he himself drove across the state in the 3 days, looking at his iPad, continuously being on Zoom. So the workers knew that our PCC president is watching us, and they ensured that the protest went on for the 3 days first of all, and with the same vigor and zeal as was on the first day, not just a photo op and they went back home. Now that acknowledgement results into people wanting to do things for the party, or because they are just being seen. There was no incentive for them. The only incentive was that they are being watched by the president and that they'll be noticed. Now, if these kind of activities, when the party performs in the way that I have explained, this helps the party a lot, and we have the results in Karnataka to show that. And that was not just the one activity. That is just an example which I'm quoting. Then there came a membership drive, which the Congress party launched. Karnataka came back with the highest number of members, 75 lakh plus, in all verified format, because the format created in the state, apart from the AICC, was in such a way that there was no fudging possible. And again, DK Singh in the morning used to go to railway stations, bus stands, tea shops, etc., leading from the front, and in the evening taking a meeting from district to blocks to constituency levels, and ensuring that, okay, fine, what has the performance been? Because there was a timeline from till when it was to be done. So these are simple things. I mean, there is no rocket science in that there is a membership drive, it has to be completed with utmost honesty. But someone has to go and do that job. Create an infrastructure, create a mechanism, ensure that the people who are performing, they get acknowledged and rewarded eventually. So these are some of the activities which I have named. And BJP, because it has a very layered hierarchy in which every booth worker, first of all, is assigned in a way that any day, any minute, they can verify a task, whether the task has been performed by them or not. And then their higher-ups also can be pulled up. And the Delhi team has a different control. The Shakti Kendras have different controls. So these are some of the things which I'm talking about. And these are not even election activities.
So many of our viewers would like to know, they have been hearing a lot about poll strategists. Like they are supposed to be carrying magic wands. Wherever they go, they make their party win. They would be really curious about, what exactly you do. So say your routine from morning till evening. What do you do? What kind of team do you have? And how do you help the people who have spent decades in politics, and yet you are able to contribute and make things change, what they cannot do? So give me your routine, for instance. Suppose you are so well in Karnataka, you turn things around. In Rajasthan, you give a big fight where in every election, people go for a change of government, and still Congress did pretty well, even if it didn't come to power. Tell us something about your day in Karnataka or in Rajasthan. What do you do since morning?
Well, I have very boring days, to be honest, because my job is to plan and to supervise execution. So, what you are wanting to know, I'll try to explain that rather than telling what my day is like. It's about that any organization like ours, if they have to contest an election with sincerity and honesty, with an attempt and intent to win, there has to be a very thorough pre-research before you even start the project. That research has to be grounded, that has to be very, very intense in understanding of every element required for you to know, because we are outsiders always.
So,
We are outsiders.
what kind of research do you do? What do you want to know?
So our teams go on the ground. There are formats made. There are secondary researches. There are call center researches. So there are 3-4 elements of researches which happen to understand what is the ground situation politically for the party who you are working against, the party with the parties which you are working, you are going to be working against. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where are the opportunities? Where are the threats? As we all do when we are doing any kind of market research, that we need to understand what are the voters thinking, what they have been missing, what they have been wanting, every kind of thing. Then you come back to the drawing board and see that, okay, fine, we have the research. These are the problem areas and these are the solutions which we can provide. Then that is discussed with the leadership, whosoever we are working with. And the leadership has to take a call whether they agree with us. Sometimes they don't agree with us. Then you have to convince them if you are convinced yourself. And once we are all on the same page, then the work starts, in which there are few elements which I can make your viewers easily understand. One is the daily tracking of what you are doing, that where is that activity taking you, how you are performing, whether you are raising, whether you are gaining, whether you are losing, or you are stable, there is no gain, there is no difference you are being able to make.
How do you track?
So we have the mechanisms in which we are speaking. At the end of the day, it is all about the voters, what they are feeling about. If you are doing something, the voters' reactions will tell you. So you have to talk to the people as many as you can. The infrastructure has to be there. The understanding and expertise of the teams have to be there. And that daily tracking is the basic thing through which we analyze and have the confidence whether we are doing what we are doing is right or not, because people around you are going to have very limited viewpoints and overview of the things. So you have to be on the ground, physically also, digitally also, remotely also, and all those inputs then in the evening tell us that, okay, fine, this has been a fine day, or these things are picking up and we need to press the pedal. Then comes the execution on the ground. Now the execution on the ground has to be how do you connect with the voters? You connect with the voters in individual capacity, you connect with the voters in party's name, you take the party along. So there are many activities of this nature which happen on the ground. Then there is a branding part, that how much visibility can you create in which people actually talk about you. Because when we go on the road, from your office to your home, when you go, you will generally, if you have interest in something, you will notice that billboard around you. If you don't have any interest, you will not even notice that billboard is around you. You will just see it as a noise or just ignore it. And incidentally, politics is not something which people are actually really interested in it all the time. Even in elections, when you see, this election is a very good example for people to convey that, okay, fine, we're not much interested, let things be the way they are, like the low percentages which we are seeing, or the initial low percentages what we saw. And so because the interest of public is not as much in politics generally, you have to create your branding, your presence, your visibility in such a way that you are taken note of. I am generally not concerned about that people should have to say only good things about you, what you're doing. If you are being talked about, you have captured the mind space of your voter. And now once you have captured it, you have the potential to influence it. You have the potential to make a mark. You have the potential to make an impression slowly, gradually. If you are in the right direction, your intention is right, your messaging is right. So then comes the digital part of it, which is the most talked about and the most sensitive part, because a bindi here and there can make a lot of difference. So you plan that, and that execution is because it's a 24/7 thing. Everyone has in a democratic India, people keep complaining about democracy under threat, which could be in some ways, but still people have all the liberties to say whatever they want to say on social media, day and night. And then you have to see that how the party or the leader you're working with, what has to be said, how it has to be said. It should not be looking like it is coming from uh, uh, an agency and not from the leader itself. You have to keep the leader's personality in mind. You have to keep the leader's style in mind. And the leader might have been working for 10 years on whatever he's saying in public domain, and then suddenly you come and give a new look, and people might feel that, okay, fine, it is not the leader himself, it is someone else doing it. So that is to be very carefully done. And then there is media, which is on your back all the time, like you were saying why you called him. So one has to look up that how the media is working and how the media needs to be provided all the information. But one thing in our organization is always been that we have always had a policy that when we are dealing with the media, we have to only give them information. That is, after that, it is their prerogative how they use that information. But our information has to be as prompt as possible, as much as possible, with all the content that can be provided, because these days things move very fast. The leader is hopping from one rally to another rally, or one district to another district.
So I would like to take you from one state to another to understand, to get your assessment of what's happening. And before that, I'm sure Neelam will have a few questions. But before she asks anything, let me ask you. We are given to understand that it's a very lucrative business, and some people tell me it's sometimes in hundreds of crores, thousands of crores. Is it a very inflated figure, or is it somewhere in that range?
I get a sense that you are here to put me out of my business. See, I can tell you one thing. For the figures, I can't say much, but I can tell one thing, that the expenditures that the parties have been making since last 20 years, just if we start from 2004, with the inflation rates, those figures are very stable. Those figures are not that they have grown exponentially on what they used to spend on elections. It is just that now they are more tracked. They are more in public eye. People can make guesses about it. And there are some figures which now you have to submit to Election Commission also, and those Election Commission figures are also publicly available. Quite many people have also put it on record, leaders, one or two of you are and my common friends, that if I work with 50 clients, for 40 clients I work free. And I enjoy doing this work. I have been passionate about it. Now that it is getting a bit boring, so I might be finding new grounds, and you are also intent on me losing this business. But money has never been a motivation for me. And this question keeps getting asked on me every time, and I have been answering it, that when I started working in Punjab, first of all, BJP never needed anyone. BJP was winning everything, and there was no challenge for them. There was no recognition which was going to come. And I was a nobody out in this field. And when we started in Punjab, we made the contribution, though there was another entity already working, but we did the constituency model, and we were able to win all the constituency where we worked. There were two in charges from AICC. One was from Rajasthan and one was from Himachal Pradesh. So they both, though they didn't get along well with each other, they both liked our work, and the Himachal in charge took us to Himachal, and the Rajasthan in charge took us to Rajasthan. And from there on, in the journey kept going on with the Congress non-stop. Though after Karnataka, I had decided that is the end of this, because it doesn't give you any personal life at all. I have seen my kids grown in photographs, because they stay in Surat, and I sometimes couldn't used to go to Surat for a year also. But then Rajasthan happened, and That doesn't stop.
So you have been watching Modi model of politics and elections since 2012 in Gujarat.
Before that, 2002.
No, but from 2012 you are watching it very closely. Could you could you develop a counter Modi narrative, some kind of formula to counter Modi in elections?
See, in the 10-12 elections which we have contested, and they have been generally against the BJP, I have always focused on issues which can make an impact. And in Rajasthan also, which you mentioned that the Congress gave a good fight, it was basically that the issues were addressed. That is why the promises made were being trusted. Because in the 10 months prior to the elections, the Mengai Rahat camps, which made the record that they did, they addressed issues in a way, because generally what is expected is, like in Delhi, doorstep delivery of governance. That the government is coming to your house. So government is trying to influence you. You might like it, you might not like it. You will still take the services because the services are being provided to you. Rajasthan created a very unique template. People went to the government and came back happy. I mean, I have not, in my limited study, read a single instance of government launching an initiative and not a single negative news story even being printed by any vested media outlet also.
No, let me make it very precise. Give me 3 ways you can counter Modi magic here, or Modi wave, or whatever it is now.
Get to the people's houses. You have to communicate to the people in the language they want to listen, not in the language which you want to communicate in. And I have given this example many times, that if I like cricket, you can't feed me hockey. You can't feed me soccer. You can't make me like soccer. But if you will talk to me in cricketing terms, I will be more interested to know. And the supply of information these days is the enemy of attention. And without attention, you can't use any intellect. You can be less intelligent, but if more attentive and diligent. In your organization, you will see that there are some hardworking people who will pay attention to everything and try to do things the right way. They might not be intellectually that blessed. So in this era, you have to keep communicating to people, with people all the time, and in the way that they want to listen, number one.
And when you have somebody as accomplished a communicator as Narendra Modi, what do?
You will be surprised, DK ji, to know that despite of the Prime Minister being an accomplished orator, as you say, which no one disagrees in fact, if you ask on the road, there are many people who would not have heard him also. But there are messengers of Mr. Modi who go to each house to convey his message.
That
is what is required. And if Mr. Rahul Gandhi or the opposition has a fantastic manifesto which they have made, I mean, no one can debate that manifesto is bad. That manifesto addresses the poor, addresses the middle class, addresses the farmers, addresses every section of the society. And let's, for the conversation's sake, not disbelieve them. Let's believe that they'll do it. But has it reached the people who actually need them? The Jatiya Janganna which they have been talking about,
caste census.
Caste census. What have they done about it? Do the sections of the society for whom they are planning this, do they even know about this, that they are planning this? And if they are planning this, how are they going to benefit from that? Running ads is not going to help you at all. They can only create a buzz about it. But to make people understand, I mean, in BJP, the number 1, 2, 3, all these terms which people use, they address booth workers and Shakti Kendra pramukhs themselves. They don't leave it to their general secretaries to do that. That is the confidence they place in them. And the people who they place their confidence in, they also feel empowered and responsible. Okay, fine, we have been tasked with this and we need to communicate and take this message forward in the way we need to. I want to ask a simple question. Current Congress president, past Congress president, let's talk of only these two president terms. Have they ever gone to a single district Congress committee office? So if they will not communicate, and when they are addressing their rallies, that you are our babbar shares and you are our volunteers and soldiers on the ground, you don't meet your soldiers. You only meet the soldiers who can meet you. If you are the party presidents, you are the ones who are the father figures. You are the one who people look up to, the congressmen look up to.
Amit Shah, JP Nadda, I mean, we see them visiting all the district party offices, I mean, all the time.
Well, I mean, DK Shivkumar, every district office, every block office in last 2.5, 3 years, he has visited or has made them come to him, made the people come to him so that he can talk to them and communicate directly. No via media, that my OSD will call you, my PA will call you. He will take call, he will call them, he will speak even if the PA is connecting the calls. Mr. Ashok Gehlot speaks to the block presidents himself when he's not the state Congress chief also. He's the chief minister. So if the Congress leadership will not give the confidence to the workers or the Congress district presidents or the Congress block presidents from which the Congress developed, Congress's block president model was copied by BJP to Mandal. So Congress has left its own templates and complaining that the BJP has a stronger network now. BJP is only replicating what you used to do.
So I'll take you to the challenges that the BJP might be facing in this election and the advantages that might have. But before that, Neelam, if you have some questions. Sir.
Yeah, so you talked about that you've lived in Punjab, and I'm reminded of one of the statements that you made. You said that one of the most interesting battles in this election, it is being witnessed in Punjab. Why do you say that?
See, it is very simple because Punjab is the only state where there is a strong four-cornered contest. All four entities, four parties have their strengths there. It's not like UP, that there is a BSP also and there is another Nishad party and all. Either the party is in alliance or something, or BSP is a spent force. But all four parties have some relevance on every seat and some weaknesses also. Like for example, there is a seat in Punjab called Anandpur Sahib. And there, the Aam Aadmi Party candidate, who was announced quite in advance, so he started his campaign in advance, had that advantage. But he's making all the appeals in the rural parts of the constituency, but in the semi-urban or urban areas, which are not as dominated by the community he represents, he's facing a challenge. So Congress announced the BJP announced, so Congress was the third to announce a candidate there, Mr. Vijender Singla. Now, he is a Sangrur guy coming to Anandpur Sahib, an outsider, but a known figure in Punjab. He's been youth Congress president, he's been minister, and he represents Hindu community. Now, he is finding a lot of traction in the urban electorate, but he's finding it difficult in the segments where Mr. Kang is already there. So, he has an advantage, he has a disadvantage. Similarly, AAP has an advantage, AAP has a disadvantage. The Akali candidate there, Mr. Chandu Majra, who has been an MP from there, he has some traction in that rural belt where Mr. Singla is not finding traction. And BJP has its own strengths and weaknesses. So, it's a very interesting election to call. And it is not just there. In Amritsar, for example, Mr. Taranjeet Sandhu, who was the ambassador to United States for India, he is an Amritsari. Out of the last three contestants, the BJP has put up from Amritsar, Mr. Hardeep Puri last time and Mr. Arun Jaitley last to last time, all of them Punjabis. But Mr. Hardeep Puri is the only candidate out of the three who has a pure Amritsari accent to start with.
Taranjeet Singh Sandhu.
Taranjeet Singh Sandhu. Amritsari accent. I told him, I said, this is the only advantage you have. Otherwise, everyone has come from outside and people don't know much about you. You might be very closely known to Mr. Biden or Mr. Trump. But in Amritsar, you need to make your presence felt, though he has a very rich legacy of his father and his great-grandfather, Mr. Teja Singh Samundri. And then Akali Dal has put up a candidate. Akali Dal being assumed as a Panthik party, they have given a ticket to a Hindu. Now that Hindu has been a local development minister in Amritsar. He's a well-known urban face. There are many such things. And Congress has a sitting MP there. Aam Aadmi Party has given it to a minister who contested last time. So it is very, very interesting. And the most interesting seat in Punjab, because you've spoken about Punjab and I always get a bit more excited about Punjab is Khadur Sahib, where Mr. Amritpal is contesting from jail. He's sitting as Sam, and to everyone's surprise, he's probably in a leading position also.
Really?
Could be, but he is being acknowledged. He's being talked over there. Congress has given a ticket to to an ex-MLA. So Punjab has a strong, and now another major, why the big reason for this election to get more interesting in Punjab is, after the Congress lost the last election in 2022, a lot of Congress leadership shifted to BJP. Even the last Congress president is now BJP state president. So when you ask the people on the ground, they see the same faces and they're not able to make it. They'll say, "Eh, hun Congress cha gaya hai ki BJP cha gaya hai?" For the local leadership also, they feel that because a lot of people are switching, and even the switching is continuing even today. Some people joined today in BJP from Congress party. So that makes it more interesting.
But do you think
Please, sir.
But do you think Kejriwal's arrest is having any resonance on ground? Do you think this is a talking point? Yeah.
In Punjab, I don't think so much.
Okay, let me take you to some states which people believe could pose some kind of challenge to the BJP in terms of maintaining its numbers. So, Maharashtra being talked about. What's your reading of Maharashtra?
See, Maharashtra again is an interesting state, and a lot of people are talking about it because there we witnessed something. First of all, the way government was formed, no one expected. Then the way the government was brought down, no one expected. And now the way the parties split up, and the way the way the alliances are there, again that is a novelty in Maharashtra. But I think that BJP will not face any major loss on their symbol there.
That's BJP's individual tally.
Individual tally.
What about the allies?
Allies are facing the heat over there, and there is a visible discomfort in the candidates of the alliance, BJP alliance partners, and there is a visible discomfort in the BJP leaders also because they are worried about their alliances partners pulling them down, and even the voters over there, what I felt that they have a sympathy towards the ones who have been left behind with the MVA, namely Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's party and Mr. Sharad Pawar's party, because Mr. Sharad Pawar is a Maratha icon. And BJP knows, as far as I can read, that you can't hurt Sharad Pawar by putting him in jail. Sharad Pawar can't be. So, if not Sharad Pawar, then let's take Ajit Pawar.
So, we are just looking at some 20 plus tally for the BJP. That's about it.
I think there will be a split division around the seats could be evenly divided between the two alliances, and or there could be that the Mahayuti, which is a BJP-led alliance, might have a slight advantage over the MVA, but a considerable drop from the alliance tally which they had last time in Maharashtra.
Tell you about Rajasthan, because you were there just about 3-4 months back. A lot of chatter that probably the Congress should be able to gain 5-6 seats this time. Or do you see that happening?
Yeah, definitely there is a contest at 5-6 seats. On 5-6 seats, there is a contest, and it is again I would say an extension of the assembly elections, because in assembly elections, the biggest exit poll gave the elections to Congress party. That is how close it was, and strong 70 seats Congress won, and that kept the spirits high. That was one. Secondly, when the Chief Minister was appointed, I mean, with all due respect to the chair and to the person himself, people seriously thought he's no match in comparison to Mr. Ashok Gehlot. And Mr. Ashok Gehlot's schemes were praised by the centre as well. The schemes were good. Once they came to power, there was some reduction. Some schemes were stopped. There was some confusing statements coming out from different party leaders, because they have two deputy chief ministers also who are also power centers, and there are strong leaders who lost elections, they are still power centers. So that has, I think, created a sense of a bit of resentment amongst voters. And honestly speaking, we did a post-poll survey as well, not the exit poll, the post-poll survey, to understand. People people did feel the regret that Ashok Gehlot was a very good chief minister. He should have been back to power. And based on these two facts, I think the Congress party and opposition has a chance at 5-6 seats. I don't know whether they'll win all of them.
So sidelining of Vasundhara Raje will also be a factor here?
Sidelining of?
Vasundhara Raje?
If Vasundhara Raje was that big a factor, she would have been a chief minister.
Okay, so we are looking at possible loss of 2, 3, 4, 5 seats.
Max.
Which is a blow for the BJP because BJP has been sweeping their states in the last 2 elections. 25 out of 25.
Yeah, of course they have been sweeping the state, and in these state elections also they felt that the Rajasthan was the most difficult state for them, and I don't think so they'll be surprised by these losses. Because the BJP also does this ground intelligence and service all the time. If they were so confident about it, they would not have changed as many tickets in Rajasthan. They didn't do that in Madhya Pradesh. They didn't do that in Gujarat and all. They did that in Rajasthan.
In MP and Chhattisgarh, you see this similar tally coming again for the BJP?
In Madhya Pradesh, I see a similar tally, and in Chhattisgarh, I see a gain for BJP.
Gain for BJP.
I think they might win all of them.
Jharkhand?
Jharkhand also, I think they'll improve.
They already have 12 out of 14. I mean, including the LIC.
They might.
I see. You in Karnataka also. So let's talk about Karnataka. Again, almost a sweep. 26 out of 28, including Sumalata.
25 out of 28.
25 for the BJP and 26 for Sumalata.
Sumalata and one.
Yeah. How is it looking like this time?
Definitely, they are facing at a major loss there, but that major loss I think won't be hurting them from the south because they are gaining in Andhra Pradesh. They are gaining in Telangana. They will be number 2 in Telangana as I see. They might win a seat in Kerala. They might win a seat in Tamil Nadu as well. So I think that will more or less make up for their loss in Karnataka.
So we are talking about the loss of a few seats in, possible loss of a few seats in Rajasthan, a few seats in Maharashtra. Bihar, you say there won't be any change, much change. Possibly in the south, in Karnataka, if it is more, if they lose about 8-9 seats, that will be Kerala and Tamil Nadu cannot probably make up for it. But as you say, Telangana, yes, because they have a lot of hope.
Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra, they are contesting 6 seats. So
even if they win 3, it's a big gain for them.
So more or less, which are the states where you see them gaining, the BJP?
See, visibly they seem to be gaining in Bengal, even if they gain 1 seat or 2 seats. UP, I feel that they'll gain.
Yeah, so some of the questions our viewers have sent. So Madhur Agarwal wants to know, now voting percentages comparable to the last general elections. Has Prime Minister's speeches pushed this voting percentage in this general election?
Yeah, Madhur, I think definitely there has been, the Prime Minister's speeches have been a factor, and those factors can be perceived in different ways, that the way the Prime Minister's speeches have been, the direction that they have taken, but then they have also given some kind of push to their own workers also to not be lethargic, not be taking it for granted. So definitely I feel that it has been a factor.
And Priyank Upadhyay wants to know, is there a possibility of BRS aligning with the BJP post the results, and as they have a common enemy, he says, in the state, which is Congress?
Priyank, I feel that won't be surprised if BRS merges with BJP also, because the kind of pressure and heat that BJP or the agencies have been creating on the BRS family, and with Mr. KCR aging the way he is, I won't be surprised that if BRS allies with BJP on a serious note.
And Namrata wants to know, how do you see this women voting pattern? You know, there's a lot that is being said about women vote and that it matters. PM also talks about it. How do you see it?
Namrata, I am more confident of BJP coming to power because of the women voter. Because the women disenchantment towards Prime Minister has not been visible on ground, apart from maybe in Punjab, where it is quite vocal. But Punjab has its own reasons, and BJP in any case only has 2 or 3 seats over there, which they might not be able to win this time. And otherwise, the women voter is quite committed towards the Prime Minister himself, not towards the BJP, if towards BJP. And that voting is going to definitely help BJP secure the victory margins, victory targets that they have set for themselves.
And one question that I want to ask regarding UP is, do you think Priyanka Gandhi should have contested from Raebareli and Rahul Gandhi from Amethi? Do you think it would have given a different message to the voters, considering, there's this debate that Congress is becoming a party, it's no longer a party of North India?
In my view, it should have only have been Priyanka Gandhi who should have contested
From?
from either of the seats. And Rahul Gandhi should have gone and campaigned for her. Till date, it's only been Priyanka who has been campaigning for him. And if Priyanka Gandhi, because you made Priyanka Gandhi the General Secretary of the state, though it was initially half of the state, and then the other half of the state was given to General Secretary who switched parties. And then Priyanka Gandhi was the one who was running the campaign for the UP elections. And to give the credit where it's due, she did create buzz and she did create national headlines because of her own name as well as the way she ran the campaign. And then thereafter, she probably abandoned UP. And if this time she should have been one who would have contested, would have firmly established her in UP as a UP leader. And in my view, she should have contested last time. But then last time probably they would have found it a bit premature. This time, in my view, she should have been the one who would have contested, and Rahul Gandhi should have campaigned for her the way she campaigns for him and said all those things what Priyanka keeps saying for Rahul. And Rahul should have gone and said that she's the one who's going to be here. See, today, in the minds of the voters, whether irrespective of the results of Raebareli, people would have this inhibition, whether if he wins, he will be here or he'll go back to Wayanad. Same inhibition would have been there in Wayanad as well. But Priyanka Gandhi only, they would have everything to put in that basket. And even if she would have lost, though in my view she would have won, but if she would have lost, everything could have been put in that one basket and you could have much more things to say, many more things to say. Even if Mr. Amit Shah is spoken about as successor to Mr. Modi, it doesn't make Mr. Modi insecure or unpopular. Mr. Modi is not popular because of Mr. Amit Shah. Mr. Modi is popular because of himself also. And if Priyanka Gandhi is popular, she is going to continue to be popular. And if Mr. Rahul Gandhi is popular, Miss Priyanka Gandhi Vadra getting popular is not going to harm Mr. Rahul Gandhi's prospects in any way in terms of his popularity. But that popularity has to be attributed to Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself, not because Priyanka is not in the fray, that is why he is popular.
But do you think it reflects poorly on the party that this has happened? And what does it mean for her?
See, I am not the party spokesperson. And I think they make their decisions what they feel is in the best interest of their own party. But my view is that she should have been the one who should have been contested.
And one last question. How has voter behavior changed over the past few years?
Very, very easy. Voter has become completely transactional. Since 2014, Mr. Modi has given the voter a reason to go and vote, press that button and think, what am I getting? Whether it is a national election, whether it is a state election. In national election, it can be an ideological satisfaction. It could be a personal benefit. It could be in the interest of nationalism or anything else. But the voter now sees that if I press a button, am I getting something? That is why where this chat which I was having with Shekhar before the show, that there are all the reasons to vote against BJP, but there is no push for the voter to vote for the opposition.
Last question from me on this note. You have said how many the BJP will get or can possibly get. How many for the Congress? Just put your finger on a number.
My upper limit for Congress is 65.
That's your upper limit.
You will be back on June 4th.
Hopefully with all the limbs intact.
Well, thank you so much for this detailed analysis and explaining the numbers. Thank you so much for your time.